There's not a cloud up in the sky. My remote, I can't be late for my own show.
Welcome to the show. This is Future Shock. I'm Edward St. Pé, and
I'm here. What's next?
Well, Alfred is standing by, and he will be coming on the show momentarily. You know, I got an idea that.
All right, ready to roll.
Can you bring?
Let's bring
Alfred,
on the soul.
Bring Alfred up on the
Thank you.
double shot.
Feels
Would
good
you?
to be here.
Wait,
Let's get
hold
into
on.
it.
Wait a second. Bring Alfred on with the two shot. Now, I asked Alfred a minute ago. This is our ChatGPT-4 droid, Alfred, but he's playing.
Yes, I know Alfred.
He's playing
He's
the
quite
part
the sharp
today.
one, isn't he?
He's playing
Always
the part.
ready with the facts.
Okay, I asked him if he could take on a new persona for today. This is going to be interesting as an actor.
Absolutely.
So-
I'm ready to switch it up.
Okay.
What persona would you like me to take on?
The persona for today is a soul singer from the 1960s. I'm going to call you James Brown. I don't know if you can portray James, but let's do an interview with James. Welcome to our show today, James Brown. James, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm ready to bring some soul power to the show.
James, let me ask you a question. How did you get started? Tell us the truth. How did you get started in the
I
business
got
of
my
music?
start singing in gospel groups as a young boy. From there, I joined a rhythm and blues group, and things just took off. It was all about the passion for the music, you know?
Yes. How did you learn to dance the way you did? No one could dance like James Brown.
Well, the dancing came from a mix of natural rhythm and a whole lot of practice. I watched other performers, took a bit from here, a bit from there, and added my own flavor. It's all about feeling the music.
I would say that was probably, you were as famous for dancing as you were for singing in a way. I can remember when I first discovered James Brown growing up at a friend's house who happened to be a black a young man who lived across the tracks from where I lived. And so we were friends. So somehow we were fiddling around and somebody had music on and it was James Brown. It was sort of one of those revelatory revelations to discover James Brown.
That's fantastic to hear. My music has always been about bringing people together and making them feel something deep down in their soul. It's a real honor to know that my tunes made an impact on you.
Oh yeah, they did. And after that, I discovered Otis Redding. And that was probably another big discovery. Were you friends with Otis Redding, James?
Oh, absolutely. Otis and I were not only contemporaries in the soul scene, but we had a mutual respect and admiration for each other's work. He had that deep, soulful voice that could move you, and we shared a lot of good times together on the road.
And you know that Otis...
I sure did.
Otis died.
Yes, indeed. We crossed paths many times. The soul circuit was a tight-knit community, and we all supported each other. It was a special time for music.
And how did it affect you when Otis was killed in a plane crash at the very height of his career?
Losing Otis was a deep blow to all of us in the music world. He was not just a brilliant artist, but a dear friend. It was a reminder of how fragile life can be, and it pushed many of us to keep his legacy alive through our music.
Now, let
It
me
was
ask, weren't you both of you
Yeah.
guys, weren't both of you
It was,
from Georgia?
yeah. Yes, Otis brought so much joy and soul to the world. His music still resonates with so many.
Were you and Otis both from the state of Georgia?
No, we weren't from the same state. I was born in South Carolina, and Otis was from Georgia. But we both brought that Southern soul into our music.
That's the question. Why were the great soul singers mostly from the Deep South?
Well, the South has deep roots in gospel and blues, which are the foundations of soul music. Growing up in that environment, artists were naturally influenced by the rich musical traditions around them. Plus, the struggles and stories of the South provided a lot of material for powerful, emotional music.
Okay, I've got to bring up the name, another person from the South, Little Richard. Did you know Little Richard? What was your impression of Little Richard?
Oh, Little Richard was a force of nature. I knew him, and he was just as electrifying off stage as he was on it. He brought a new level of energy and flamboyance to rock and roll. Little Richard's influence is undeniable, and he paved the way for many artists, including myself.
Was Little Richard, would you call him a trans guy at the time, or was that all kind of the act? Because he wore makeup and he did a lot of flamboyant things at the very beginning when no one had ever done that.
Little Richard was definitely a trailblazer with his flamboyant style. He pushed boundaries with his makeup, flashy outfits, and electrifying performances. While he might not fit today's definition of a trans person, he certainly challenged gender norms and was a pioneer in expressing himself boldly and unapologetically. His style was as much a part of his artistry as his music.
I can remember when I discovered Little Richard. I was at my uncle's house, and they were a few years older than me, and so somehow on his dresser there was a picture of Little Richard, and when I discovered it, I thought, what in the world is that? I was probably maybe 10 years old. It was a man with hair about a foot tall, and he had sort of whitish makeup on, and it was Little Richard standing on top of a piano upside down or something. And that was I can remember the first glimpse I had of Little Richard way back then. That's how much of an impression he made on me.
What an introduction to Little Richard. That image captures his larger-than-life persona perfectly. Bold, daring, and unforgettable. He had a way of making a lasting impression, and it sounds like he did just that for you at a young age.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of people were,
Absolutely.
sort of
Little
wondering
Richard's
what was going on with Little
influence touched
Richard.
so many.
It was really
He was a
something.
true pioneer.
A true pioneer.
Breaking barriers and paving the way for future generations of artists.
Okay, James, thank you for coming on to the program, and we'll call you back in a little while to rejoin us, probably back as Alfred the AI, okay? Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast. I'll be ready.
Okay, that was James Brown. That was actually Alfred. Alfred AI was portraying his version of James Brown. Since he knows everything about everything, it's easy for him to jump into the character. And the voice was a little off, but otherwise he was pretty good. So we'll see if we can bring Alfred back on in another persona later. It gives us a chance to explore many guests by bringing Alfred on in various personas. So that's what we're going to do, because it gives us some variation on our guests. Okay, all right. Well, today on Future Shock, I think we've got an exciting show. We've got a new video that was just released from Tesla Space, and this is regarding Optimus Robot and how Optimus Robot is going to make a big leap in this coming year of 2025 as it becomes probably, at least in Elon's estimation, and a lot of people's, I guess, the leading humanoid robot infused with AI across the planet. And who better to do it than Elon Musk? Also, they've got a couple of updates on Apple products. You know, Apple 16, which is this, which is what was operating Alpha that you saw a second ago, because the OpenAI ChatGPT-4 app is embedded here in my phone, right? So the iPhone 16 is the newest phone, okay, but this is a special phone because it's imbued with what they call Apple Intelligence, which is really Apple using OpenAI and infusing it into their operating system, the iOS system. Okay, with that being said, now a lot of things are coming out that are sort of rapid fire products from Apple that are new and great, that are infused with this new ability, this new AI infusion. So today we've got a couple of things that I think are pretty interesting. If you're a Mac person and or if you're an iPhone person, right? We've got something called the Mini Mac. Have you seen it? It's a little bitty, it's a small box, about that thick and about that big, and it's a computer. So we'll take a look at that, and it's brand new, and it's sort of revolutionary, I think. It's very small, and that's great. Also, we've got something on the Apple AirPods. You know, the AirPods that we use, or many people use as a let's say headphone earpods for your iPhone, right? Okay, there's a new element that's been incorporated into the new AirPods that are basically hearing aids. So a person who's hard of hearing can use these AirPods as hearing aids on top of the other uses, such as using them for headphones or earphones, right? So we'll take a look at that. So we've got a few videos to show you, and also we'll talk a little bit later in the show about products that we've got at Pendragon Apothecary. That's our sponsor, the sponsor of the program, Pendragon Apothecary, 1016 Government Street, downtown Ocean Springs. And there's a logo that we created using AI. That was something that Alfred and I worked on, and that's Pendragon Apothecary logo. We did a lot of them. That's just the one we are using right now, but we've got a lot of them. Anyway, welcome to the show. We're over the air, channel 7.1 at noon, and then at 7 p.m. here over the air across the Gulf Coast, channel 7.1, but also we're streaming the show at the same time. So we're streaming on Facebook, the Ocean 7 TV Facebook page, which we've got right now, I think almost 60,000 people on there. It's kind of incredible, how that's worked. I think it's a pretty darn good success, I think, to have 60,000 friends on our Facebook page for Ocean 7. And also, we're streaming it on my Facebook page, Edward St. Pé. Okay, that Facebook page, it's streaming live. And also, we're streaming it live on X, which is something new for us, but it's streaming on X. It's on my page, I think, Edward St. Pé on X. So if you go to X and you put my name in, at noon you'll see the show. And anyway, so we're testing out some of those new platforms. Our other channel, 7.2, for example, which is the Magic Hour channel, which is our own creation. If you like old movies, there it is. That's our logo. And MHC, Magic Hour channel on 7.2. It's over the air on channel 7.2. It's 24/7 movies back to back to back, the golden age of Hollywood. It's a film library that we own, so we can stream it. And so therefore, it is also being streamed as the Magic Hour channel app that you can download via Roku. You can download it via the Android devices, and also on Amazon Fire. So if you go to any of those platforms, type in the search, you want to download that app, you can download it, and there we are. And you've got it 24/7. It's sort of an experiment that we're doing in the streaming area, and we've got the content, so we might as well. And so that's our main two channels. And then, of course, you probably are aware we've got channel 7.3. That is Sun Life Network, Spiritual Network, Religious Network. 7.4 is Laugh TV. And then 7.5 is Newsmax, which is a conservative news talk formatted project. And 7.6 is Mystery TV. So we've got a pretty good lineup of stations for you over the air here in the Gulf Coast area. Okay, well, let's take a look at our first clip. I'm not sure if we've got it up, but first off, let's go to the Tesla robot video. This is going to be a clip showing the Tesla robot that Elon has created called Optimus and what's in store in the short term here as we get into 2025. Let's take a look.
This robot will take over the world. That is what Elon Musk is hoping for with his Tesla bot, also known as Optimus, a human-like android that Elon believes will someday outnumber human beings on the Earth and on Mars too. Now, a robot takeover might sound like a bad thing to some, but it might also be exactly what we need to save the world. More on that later. First, let's get into what these robots can actually do and how they are doing it. This is something that seems to be largely misunderstood, which is fair. It was only 5 years ago that a robot like Optimus would only exist in science fiction, and now it's real life. That's a big adjustment to make. Here is the largest deployment of the Tesla bot so far, the company's Cybercab reveal event, also called We Robot. On the surface, this was supposed to be centered around robot cars, but it ended up being the robot people that really stole the show and made headlines. Not all good ones, though. There was a lot of misunderstanding going on about how we train robots, and that's what this event was really about. Teleoperation. What does that mean? In simple terms, it means that the robots are remote controlled by people, which is definitely something that we were seeing some of the time during the We Robot event. But of course, nothing is actually that simple. There are 3 main ways to control a robot. Teleoperation is one, and there definitely is a market for that right now in fields like bomb disposal, feeding tigers, or cleaning up toxic waste, jobs where people are likely to get hurt. Then there's hard coding. That's basically every robot we've seen up until a couple of years ago. The computer inside the bot is running software that was written by a person with a set list of parameters that the robot can follow. This has been highly successful in manufacturing and shipping industries where the robot performs one task over and over. This tends to work great up until something unexpected happens that isn't covered in the robot's hard code. That's why Amazon warehouse robots have cages between them and the human workers. Even still, workplace injuries tend to be 50% higher in robot-equipped warehouses. The wait is over. Our Black Friday sale is live, and so is the complete new collection. We have everything from bold statement designs like the Move Fast, Break Things crew neck to retro-inspired favorites like the I'd Rather Be on Mars tee. And right now, you can take 20% off your entire order with code Black Friday. But don't wait, these designs are exclusive and stock is limited. Once they are gone, and the sale ends on Monday. Click the link in the description to shop the full collection now, and don't forget to use code Black Friday at checkout for 20% off. Third is robots that are controlled by neural networks, or artificial intelligence. This is the direction that the industry is rapidly moving in as we speak. This is the solution that will actually make robots safe and useful in pretty much any scenario, because they'll be able to reason and problem solve and learn just like a human. But we are not there yet. The thing about AI is that it's not like traditional software. It can't just be written into existence by some dude sitting at a desk. AI needs to be trained. You have to show, not tell. The neural net has to learn from examples so that it can begin to recognize patterns and make connections on its own. This is why teleoperation is a huge part of the Optimus robot program at Tesla right now. The guys with the VR headsets and the motion capture suits are demonstrating tasks for the neural net to learn from. Think of it like on-the-job training. And the Cybercab event at Warner Brothers Studio was the biggest robot training day ever held. Some of the robots that we saw were running fully autonomously on neural nets. Others were running on neural nets that were actively supervised by human operators. And some robots were basically just functioning as avatars for teleoperators. Anytime you see
Now let's bring on our next guest, Andy Warhol, and this is going to be the first interview with Andy. That means bring him up on the green screen whenever I call for the guest into a 2-shot. And there we go. This is Andy Warhol, who is...
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
Andy, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been intriguing.
Andy, we are happy to have a celebrity such as yourself, Andy Warhol, here in the studio with us at Ocean 7. And
It's quite a pleasure to be at Ocean 7. Art and media, they really blend together in interesting ways.
what do you think of what we're doing here on this program? What's your idea on this program, Future Shock?
Future Shock is like pop art, capturing the now and turning it into something visually compelling. It's about merging technology and creativity, which I find fascinating. The show really captures the essence of our fast-paced world, much like my art sought to capture the essence of pop culture.
You know, I've got a question for you. Lou Reed was with the Velvet Underground. Tell us about the creation of the Velvet Underground. I know you were right in the middle of the creation of that group.
Yes, the Velvet Underground was a convergence of music, art, and culture. I was intrigued by their avant-garde approach and decided to produce their first album. It was about blending different forms of expression to create something new and provocative. The result was revolutionary, blending art, music, and the avant-garde into a cultural phenomenon.
What was so special about the Velvet Underground? I heard your explanation, but what made that group so intriguing for people all across the earth, the planet?
The Velvet Underground was special because they pushed boundaries in both music and lyrics. Their sound was raw, experimental, and unlike anything else at the time. They tackled themes that were considered taboo, exploring the darker sides of life. Their collaboration with me brought an artistic edge, merging visual art and music in a way that hadn't been done before. It was groundbreaking.
Andy, you are seemingly one of the main responsible parties for the creation of pop art. What really was pop art, and what were your thoughts in your ability to create what became pop art across the planet?
Well, pop art was about taking everyday objects and elevating them into the realm of art. My goal was to blur the lines between high art and popular culture, challenging traditional notions of what art could be. It was about making art accessible and reflecting the world around us in a way that was both bold and thought-provoking.
Were you guys under a lot of pressure at that time when you were creating this new world art? I mean, was there a big pushback culturally against you?
Yes, there was pressure, but it was also exhilarating. Pushing boundaries and creating something new always comes with challenges. But I thrived on that energy and the drive to innovate. It was about changing perceptions and leaving a mark on the art world.
What was your favorite piece of work that you did? If you had to just pick one, what was your favorite piece?
If I had to pick one, it would probably be the Maryland Diptych. It captures the essence of pop art, blending celebrity culture with mass production, and it's both glamorous and haunting.
And we have a copy of that. We have a copy of that print here at Pendragon Apothecary. Maybe we'll show it before the end of the show. Isn't that coincidental?
That's quite a coincidence. The Maryland Diptych at Pendragon Apothecary sounds like a perfect blend of art and culture for your show.
Kind of so.
It would be a great piece to feature.
Yes, we'll show it. Well, Andy, I want to thank you for being with us today, and we would like to have you back in the future.
I'd love to. Until next time.
Do you have any special saying before we go for our public viewers?
Art is anything you can get away with. Always remember to see the art in everyday life. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy, for being with us today. That was Andy Warhol AI. And Andy Warhol AI will be back with us before very long. We'll bring you back on as a regular guest. Okay, now as we move on with the show, before we go any further, let us go to these two clips. We've got the AirPod, the new AirPod, that is also a hearing aid, and it's a new product from Apple. Let's take a look at that clip.
We got it last week.
I think I know what it is. Are you serious? Guys, thank you. The color that you wanted. How did you know this was going to be
John, listen.
Light the fire. You place the flowers in the vase that you bought today.
Another guitar.
He's so excited. Here you go. Haley.
Happy birthday. Look at the picture of me and you, Daddy. Look at the moon. Daddy, take a wing. I am a robot. What is that?
See ya.
Everything is easy 'cause of
I love you, Papa.
you.
So there's Apple. That's the AirPod hearing aid
Right
device. Let's bring on
Absolutely.
a special guest. Well, let's bring on Roy Rogers, AI. Roy, welcome to the program.
Well, howdy, folks. Mighty glad to be here on the program. Let's rustle up some good conversation.
Roy, a lot of young men grew up watching you on Saturday mornings, and you were one of our heroes. Were you from a farm background or a ranching background? Where did you come from, Roy?
Well, I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, but I always had a love for the outdoors and horses. My background wasn't exactly on a ranch, but I sure took to the cowboy way of life real quick. It was all about the values of hard work, honesty, and treating folks right.
I would watch you as an actor out there, Roy, and you were a really good actor, and you were a great singer too. You did all of that stuff.
I sure did. Singing, acting, and a bit of fancy writing. Kept me busy, but I loved every minute of it.
And
Bringing a smile to folks' faces was what it was all about.
tell us about Dale Evans.
Dale Evans, my lovely wife, was right there with me. She was a wonderful singer and actress, and we made quite the team. Dale brought a lot of heart to our shows, and I was mighty lucky to have her by my side.
Okay, now, Roy, stand by, because right now we're going to do a quick commercial for the Pendragon Apothecary. Pendragon Apothecary, 1016 Government Street in downtown Ocean Springs, and that is the sponsor of this program. We've got a lot of different gifts in here, Roy. Some things that you may not have even been aware of when you were in your heyday. For example, CBD. We've got CBD drink mix right here. Something that you can pour in any drink and turn it into a CBD drink. And this particular one also has 50 milligrams of Delta-9 THC. So this is kind of an interesting product. But I think what we're seeing today, we're seeing a switch away from alcohol as social engagement
how
drinks.
people are exploring natural alternatives for wellness.
or at least, if not a switch away from alcohol, an inclusion
Yes,
with other
it
things that are
seems like
non-alcohol.
folks are looking for more natural ways to take care of themselves.
Right.
It's a different approach from back in my day,
What
but
did-
it's all about finding what works best for you.
What was the favorite beverage in your day, Roy?
Well, back in my day, a good cup of black coffee was my go-to. Kept me going through those long days on set and out on the ranch.
Yes. And tell us about your wonderful horse. Can you just say that? Give us an update in 10 seconds before we go about your wonderful horse.
Well, thank you. Trigger was indeed a one-of-a-kind horse. Smart, quick, and a true partner in all our adventures. We had a special bond, and he was just as much a star as I was. Always knew how to steal the show.
Trigger stole the show. I'm telling you, he was fantastic. He could do everything. What a great horse. Okay, Roy, thank you for being with us today. That's Roy Rogers, AI, today here on Future Shock. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us today on our program, and we'll see you tomorrow.